Remember my last video where I said I didn't have any criticisms against Daft Pina? And I have no hard feelings against Daft or any criticisms against him. I lied! Well, I mean, it's not a problem of that specifically. It's more of a problem of his fanbase being too forgiving to a certain groomer, and how Daft didn't really do a good job to explain to his fanbase why AnimatedJames grooming his victims, who were minors at the time, was and still is a bad thing, since in the comments of his AnimatedJames video, you see many people clamoring, wishing for his return. Hell, even James's former friends and associates and other content creators are wishing for his return. I felt really confused reading these comments, since these are the same people who will never do this for other groomers like Cosmodor or John Bob. What makes AnimatedJames special? He literally groomed a minor like the rest of the groomers covered by Daft. So I decided to watch Daft's video back to back to see why people are acting like this. But before we get into the discussion, let's get into the background. Daft Pina is an art commentary YouTuber who is well known for making videos about people in the art community. He's also really popular for his exposed videos on groomers like Cosmodor, John Bob, Boy in a Band, and many others. On December 5th of 2022, he uploaded a video on AnimatedJames, which I was personally hyped for, since he would literally be interviewing James, whose whereabouts were mostly unknown on the internet for years at this point. After watching this video, it has opened up a new discussion in my head on how we treat and see groomers like Cosmodor and AnimatedJames. Speaking of AnimatedJames, AnimatedJames is a former content creator who makes animations on YouTube. Some of his more popular videos were the Sonic vs. My Little Pony videos, which did really well. His Sonic vs. Rainbow Dash video has racked up over 75 million views. That's almost the entire population of Germany in 2022 as of writing the script. His Sonic vs. Rainbow Dash video is kind of what inspired me to draw as a kid, even though I sucked and still suck at drawing, as you can tell by my PNG tuber stills. Like, look at these hands, bro, they literally look like gloves. But anyways, around the mid-2010s, AnimatedJames has gone into some hot water by drawing fetish fart art of some underage Sonic characters and dating a minor, or specifically a 17-year-old girl who we're going to refer to as Victim A. AnimatedJames started talking to Victim A when she was around 16 years of age, which was most likely the time when James started to groom Victim A. Then on August 19th of 2019, another victim released a document on Twitter, where she came forth with allegations against James. We're going to refer to her as Victim B. Victim B was a voice actress that James hired for his cartoon C Students, where she played one of the characters. She later quit working for C Students due to the show having a lot of sexual material and James wanting to date her, despite Victim B being 17 at the time. Hell, James even suggested to fly out to her location, which is honestly pretty creepy and even dangerous. When she left C Students, James became furious and allegedly encouraged his fans to harass Victim B. After hearing all of these heinous things James has done, why do people forgive him more, or give him more of a pass than someone like Cosmodor or John Bob, which is what we're going to get into. The first explanation could be because of the time frame. When Daft made his video on Cosmodor and John Bob, it was around the time when people started calling them out for their grooming, so their terrible and heinous actions were still fresh on the minds of the viewers watching said videos. The AnimatedJames video was uploaded 6 years after the events, and the knowledge of James grooming Victim A being widely known to the public. Within those 6 years, most people have forgotten about the heinous and awful things that James has done to his victims, which is why there's a lot of people that are willing to forgive him and wish for his return. A second plausible explanation could be the age difference between James and his victims. When they first started dating, with quotation marks, Victim A was around 17, while James was 21. While at first glance it may not look like a big deal since Victim A was 1 year away from turning 18, but the thing is that it doesn't change the fact that Victim A was underage, while James was a grown-ass 21-year-old adult who had a position of power over Victim A. Compare that to the age difference Cosmodor had with his victim. Cosmodor's victim was 14 while Cosmodor himself was 20, which is a huge age gap, which makes the age difference in the position of power Cosmodor had over his victim more apparent among onlookers. A third plausible explanation is on how James reacted to the allegations. When AnimatedJames' relationship with Victim A was public knowledge, James didn't really give a proper response until 2022, when he dropped a Google Doc where he acknowledged his faults and how much of a shitty pedophilic person he was. It was way too late since people stopped caring about his relationship he had with a minor. Then there's how Cosmodor responded to his allegations, which was pretty much a shit show. Cosmodor's apology videos, yes, he made multiple apology videos, which were really problematic. The way he described his victim, as if she was his love of his life, was creepy and uncomfortable to listen to. Not to mention him hiding behind age of consent laws of Germany, and his third apology video doesn't really help his case with his reputation in the cartoon community. The last plausible explanation I have is the time frame between the apologies both Cosmodor and AnimatedJames gave to the community. Cosmodor's apology was sent immediately after he was exposed, which was when everyone on the internet was still against him and wanted to see him deplatform off the internet. AnimatedJames' apology, however, was sent 5 to 6 years after his grooming of a minor was public knowledge. When his detractors moved on and his younger fans who were too young to know any better grew up and started reminiscing of him and his content, desperately wanting him back on the internet, making the same entertaining videos he used to make. I honestly think it's the lack of research, nostalgia, and people are falling asleep to Turkey Tom's and Daft Peanut's videos on AnimatedJames, being the reasons why AnimatedJames is more positively seen in the art community compared to Cosmodor, who is seen as a pariah in the community. Overall, I believe we need to do better as a community. We can't allow monsters like Cosmodor and AnimatedJames who have hurt members in our community, especially if they're emotionally vulnerable people like underage minors. It doesn't matter whether it's Cosmodor or AnimatedJames. We can't allow them back into our community. Even if they apologize or regret their decisions, who's to say they won't groom another victim? Groomers never stop being groomers. There's a saying that fits perfectly in the discussion. The saying goes, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. We can't let groomers be in our good graces. What I'm basically saying is, AnimatedJames is still a groomer, and inviting him back to our spaces is a huge insult towards his victims, and dangerous to the underage members of the art community. See you next time. Bye.
Right before the sunrise, one thing is on my mind. Need to take the stress and throw it all away. Feelings to discover, knowing undercover what it is you really mean to me.